Alrighty, traders. This is Blake Morrow. You are listening to the Face 2.0. I hope everybody's doing good. I'm sorry, I'm just moving that out of the way. Okay, so we have seen it's actually been a very quiet session. And actually one of the things I'm really thinking about here is the dollar index. We tried to break lower out of the triangle and then pop back in the triangle, which leads me to believe that we're actually going to go higher in the dollar index back up. But first of all, I'd like to see a couple things happen before getting too excited about the dollar, especially on a day like today when there's just not a lot going on. I'd like to see a move back above here. So I'm going to create a little bit of an alarm right here. We're going to have to see a move back above 90.50 before I get even excited. So I'm going to write that down. 90.50, and we start breaking above there. I might, take into consideration, where the Aussie's at and think, okay, well, maybe the Aussie gave us a false breakout and maybe I'll look to short it. But I'd like to see the dollar make the move first versus me just making an assumption that's what's going to happen. Because when I drew this triangle today, it's going to beep again here in a second. Just sorry. When I drew this earlier today, I had to keep in mind that it was an hourly chart. Excuse me. I was about ready to sneeze. It's been pretty warm here, so we're growing all sorts of weeds and things and whatnot. Anyway, when I was drawing this triangle, I was like, okay, well, there's a big channel here. I'd like to see us break squarely below not only these lows, this support down here is really important, the 618, because you can see this is that inverted head and shoulder pattern, and that was the previous shoulder. It really comes in at about 90, 10. So that is going to be really key support today. Whoops, 90, 10. And I'm going to put an asterisk there because it is the 618 retracement. So I think this is going to be really important for the dollar. Okay. All right. Let's continue through the charts, but that's the dollar. The consolidation, yes, it is very maddening. And I have to say this again to you guys. Look, the FX market, the volatility is subdued. Believe it or not, stocks are relatively subdued too. I mean, we're up near the all-time highs, but as we're at these all-time highs and the attention is elsewhere, the attention is right now on cryptocurrencies. It will come back to the currency market, hopefully sooner rather than later. I'm very hopeful that this year is going to be, a pretty explosive year in currencies. But that doesn't mean it's going to be today necessarily. It is tough. It's tough waiting, but we have to be patient. We have to be diligent about waiting for the market to really show us the signs. And we'll be here waiting for it, so just know that. All right, let's take a look at the euro dollar. So here's and by the way, I'm trading some cross rates right now too, just to pass the time, finding currencies that I think are at good levels that I think are decent. Like, for example, if you weren't in the chat room this morning, I like the Aussie New Zealand here being short. It's a 618 retracement. I'll get out if we get above like this 107.40, but if we can double top here and trip through these lows, then you got a move from 107.20 to you're talking to maybe 106.60, 106.50. That's not bad risk reward from current levels. So I'm keeping myself busy looking at situations like that versus trying to get too wrapped up in the majors and the dollar at this point. But that doesn't mean we're not going to cover them. So let's go take a look at the euro. The euro is at the 50% retracement, divergent relative strength. So 121.50 I think is good resistance, but I'm going to write down two levels. So 121.50 and then 122. The reason why 122, because that's a 618, right? So I still think we can get up there, actually. Support. So first of all, we have this support here, which will be hourly, 121.15. But below that, before I write this 121.15, let's also, this has been drawn out from yesterday. Let's keep that at 120.85. So 85, 121, 15. Okay. Okay. Let's go look at the cable. So the cable's been really weak today. Yeah, I know this because my pound Aussie, pound New Zealand crosses have come off, and it's annoying, but that has more to do with a stabilization and risk than anything. It's just a patience game at this point. But what I've noticed here is the cable is, flagging for, all intents and purposes right here. It looks like we're just flagging. So and we're just looking at hourlies here. So support for the cable on an hourly basis, I'm going to give it all the way down to the spike low right here, which comes in at basically 138. Then below that, 137.55, which is key, right? So 37.55, 138. Okay, resistance will be, see, we can't get an hourly close above like this resistance. So that's going to be 138. Let's call it 138.60. And beyond that, remember we have a 161% extension that comes in, 138.75. Actually, I should just skip that. I should just put this here and then put an asterisk there. Okay. It is bullish, believe it or not. I know it's underperforming right at this moment in time, but it is in a bullish trend. It's just underperforming at this very second. Aussie. So the Aussie just hit, here, let's go back over to a 4 hour. Okay. So the Aussie just took out this resistance, it just basically hit the 78% retracement, and seems like it's rejecting it. I don't want to write down 177 or 77.70 because we're basically on it. So let's write down 78.20. Which is key. And look, the Aussie may be doing all right right now, but it's still, struggling as stocks are near all-time highs. So, the Aussie just kind of paused. Okay. So support right now is going to be at 77 cents. And while we're above 77 cents, you got to just continue to think that, upside is possible. I think that is support. I do believe we're in a range, but I think we can still test the top of the range right now while we're above 77 cents. So, and with stocks as bullish as they are. Kiwi. So here's the Kiwi, and resistance is at 72.50. Support is at 72 cents still. Yesterday, I think we actually tagged that, but I'm going to write down 72.70 because it seems like we could pop up higher towards the 78% retracement. So and 72 cents is key. Okay. 5 minutes till the equity markets open. dollar Canadian. So the dollar Canadian, channel support, 78% retracement comes in at 126.50. Resistance intraday. So intraday, I mean, for me to even, you can see I have a little alarm set up here at 127.20, because that would be yesterday's highs. Like yesterday's highs were at 15. So we really have to get above 127.20 to even think anything exciting is happening. I do think we're in a range here, as we're basing. Dollar Swiss. Yeah, I mean, look at this. What's been happening in the last several hours? I mean, last 24 hours, nothing. Resistance at 89.20, support at the 618 here at 88.70. US dollar, Norwegian krona, trying to build a base here. And I like that we completed the AB equals CD, which means that this, support's going to be pretty important, which comes in at 840. Resistance is going to be I'm going to write down 849, 850 basically. So 850, 840 in a range as well. I'm moving kind of quick today, guys, because there's just not a lot happening. I'll bring in obviously Steve and Stelios too. So,
don't we have Grega coming in today?
Oh, Blake? Yeah, Greg is coming in. That's right.
Yeah.
Forgot about that. Greg is going to be here, which is cool. Dollar Mex. So dollar Mex slipped below this 1997. The 618 comes in, and you can see the spike low right here. That is going to be at the 1987 level. This thing's just bleeding lower until 1987 low. Until we see the dollar Mexican peso pop back above like 20 in 2010, then I might think that maybe there's some FX volatility is going to pick up, but right now it just keeps bleeding lower because everybody's like, well, why do I even own it? Because stocks go up, Bitcoin goes up, whatever. Hey, Steve, I got to ask you a question.
Yes, mate.
You helped me build this ForexAnalytix bias chart back in the day. Do you want to do me a favor? Do you want to add a column here and add Bitcoin to this so we can add Bitcoin to it?
A row, you mean? Yes,
I'm
going to add.
Yeah.
Send me the file so I don't have to search for it, and I'm going to send it to you back.
Absolutely. Resistance intraday for the dollar Mex is going to be right here because this is trendline resistance, which would be, wedge resistance, because this could very easily just be this. We could be doing that today for all we know. So, this lower trend line is definitely not set in stone. We could come all the way down here. But what is important is this downsloping trend line because it hasn't been penetrated yet. So that comes in at 20.05. That's going to be resistance today. I hope that made sense to you guys. 20.05. Dollar yen. So dollar yen support is going to be down here at 104.35, even below that at 104.25, I think is what we had written down yesterday. Resistance on rallies. If I was long, I would be thinking, okay, I don't want to, I want out somewhere up here. So that's going to be at 105.30. And this is 104.25. And we continue to just be in a range. Gold was up earlier. Let me take a look at gold right now. This is another situation of nothing happening. So support is 1820, resistance is 1875. Nothing's different there. I mean, look, all attention right now is on Bitcoin. So, you know, unfortunately, it's leaving all the rest of the markets just kind of paralyzed. S&P, including the S&P. And I know S&P may be paralyzed, but it's paralyzed at higher levels. I mean, we're just stuck. So just as we talked about yesterday, support's going to be 38.70. Dip was bought. The Fed did nothing. Powell did nothing to derail the markets. He just was really dovish. And as I told everybody in the chat room, it's like, okay, if he gets hawkish, that's when we need to start, thinking about what he's saying here, but right now he just continues to be dovish, which is just keeping a bit in equities.
Hawkish Federal Reserve Chairman must be the shortest joke.
What's that?
Hawkish Central Bank Chairman must be the shortest joke invented. Just 3 words.
Oh yeah, no kidding. Yeah. I mean, look, it's like, I mean, we've been in a crisis situation with monetary policy for how many years now, Steve?
11.
Has it been 11 still?
Theoretically speaking, we're entering the 13th, but it's never going to end, because the emergency measures are actually what keep the economy sedated and prevent it from actually fixing the real problems that are underneath.
Yeah, so when you don't have to reduce your balance sheet and you just let your economy grow into your balance sheet, that means that we will go up forever. And that's really the tone we got from yesterday, right? Stocks are going to move up forever, and they're not going to reduce the balance sheet. They're just going to grow the economy into the balance sheet.
Nothing moves up forever, but in nominal prices might be close to the truth. The question is, what about in real terms? Because, we've had periods of time that stocks weren't really doing anything, or they were even going up, but in real terms, they were really falling. Yeah. And I think, we're going to have that happening probably again. Because, for example, if the dollar is getting demolished, small gains in the stock market won't really mean much.
Yeah. Well, Steve, I'm going to let you and Stelios take over as the stock market opens. I wish I had more things to say, but I mean, everything is really status quo. But that doesn't mean that it's going to stay that way today. Remember, we'll be back here for the daily roundup in a few hours, and I'll be in the chat rooms, and hopefully things pick up here. I'm not giving up on today, but the market just opened. Stocks are opening stronger, so. We'll see if that will persist. All right, guys. Steve, Stelios, it's all yours.
Thank you, Blake.
Thank you, mate.
So we talked about cryptos in phase 1.0. I mean, Blake mentioned.
I'm so sorry.
Sorry, go on.
Stelios, and guys, remember, Greg is coming in. So you guys are going to get a good view from what Greg has to say. All right. Sorry.
No problem. We're trying to find Greg at the moment, but yeah, I think he's coming in. So we talk about cryptos. I mean, Blake mentioned Powell and the way he spoke. And, he said that monetary policy is going to be very accommodative until there's a substantial further progress on employment and inflation. Inflation, which they choose to measure whichever way they want. And, do we need to make him... Oh, we need to make him panelist? Hold on, I'll do that.
I thought he was, but okay, yeah, sure.
I've done it. So that for me, like Blake said, we're going to be zero rates forever. Not forever, but it's going to be for a long time. And funnily enough, he said the other day that, I don't think that it's the Fed's policy that is causing stocks to go up. And it's funny because yesterday there was just a rumor of a hint of him being slightly hawkish, and we dropped straight away. So raise rates 25 base and see what happens.
We can very easily test that theory if he wants.
Yeah, exactly.
Very easily.
We have,
and if he's right, kudos to him. I'm gonna.
Yeah. Okay, we have Gregor, and I think he's with us. Hello.
Yeah. Yes.
Hey, Gregor.
Hey, how are you guys?
Very
What's
well,
up, mate?
man.
How have you been?
I'm fine.
Everything all right?
Yeah, sure.
Nurse is
Cool.
keeping you busy? Huh?
I don't need them anymore.
You don't need them?
You always need them, man. Always.
Wife to cover. So, what do you think? I mean, we got a hint of the market rolling over and the dollar rebounding, but as it seems, it was
Just temporary.
so far what it looks like. It was just a meaningless little correction. What do you think happens from here?
Just a second. I think that dollar will see more weakness. We have seen just a temporary pullbacks.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, if we take a look just a simple basic technical approach, I mean, here we have a downtrend. There was a very similar bounce compared to the previous corrections. And these previous swing lows also turned into very nice resistance. So I think that more weakness is coming. And as you know yourself, that was a very nice free wave rise actually.
Yes, it was perfect. And we're actually breaking the channel just like
just now,
today. Yeah.
And also what I'm looking at is that actually we have seen a very nice and strong reversals after New Year holidays. And normally when that's the case, it's a very small chance that January high or low will actually be high of the year or low of the year. So I'm looking actually for market to retest that same levels before we may see a very big or important change in trend, if that will actually happen later this year. So I'm still looking to see these levels, these lows retested. And if you look at the euro dollar, there's actually a very nice and clear 5 waves up here from those 1950 level.
Nice triangle there.
And
as a wave 4.
Here, yes, exactly. That was a triangle. So I'm thinking about current 5-wave rise is moving into this very noisy price action that we've been looking through January. So I'm expecting maybe market to slow down up here. Ideally, we will see a 3-wave setback and then possibly even more upside. So I'm looking for more gains, and I think that the next 3-wave drop could be a very nice opportunity. But market can actually move very sharply. Maybe we'll see just extensions to the upside. So it just
trend is your friend, as we say.
Yeah, it's just easier maybe to jump into trend after pullbacks, but who knows if
I agree. I mean, the trends are quite clear, but on the other hand, as I've been saying, I mean, if you buy like here equities, let's say, or the euro, where do you put your stop loss? You know what I mean?
Yeah, you definitely have to manage your risk and scale into positions.
Yes.
That's a different story then. So that's for the euro. I mean, if we go further, let's take a look on Aussie.
No, Aussie seems to be breaking through a bull flag. Yeah.
Same thing. Also, what I like about the Aussie, we have retested and jump away from this March 20 and November.
Copper has done the same thing as well.
Yeah. So I'm actually looking, since I'm seeing copper here in wave 5 of 3. Okay, so I'm expecting that this Aussie will sooner or later also to catch the upside here. Maybe we will see one.
Yeah, probably when all those things stop down temporarily, we're also going to see some weakness in
I'm
stocks.
looking here on Aussie. I'm looking for 0.8 level to be maybe triggered in the next few weeks, and then maybe we stepped into a new correction. But though those markets are very strong, trends are very clear.
Theoretically speaking, though, the next correction should be deeper than the one we just had, because we're completing a cycle, right?
Yeah, it could be, but it's not necessary, because it's still Aussie. It's very strong, probably one of the best in this risk-on environment. So maybe we'll see some deep pullbacks when dollar is again ready to recover. But I think that euro, for example, will be a much different story compared to Aussie, because even now was the same example. I mean, euro is still trading far away from January highs, while Oz is approaching it very, very fast.
Kiwi also, yeah.
Yeah.
Crude oil and copper made the move before the FX market did.
Yeah. So these are just leaders that suggest where
so far they are.
Yeah. Also, I'm looking here at Hang Seng Index, also very important to figure out where Aussie could be headed. And I'm looking here as well. We are in the middle of this bullish cycle, so more upside to come. Also, dollar Chinese yuan. Where is the higher degree chart? I'm missing one chart here. I don't know why. Okay. Anyhow, dollar Chinese yuan also very bearish here. You can see blue is Aussie dollar actually inverted, and you can see a very tight correlation. And if you will check the longer term charts here, you can actually see that here we are approaching now this trend line. So we should be careful maybe down here, but this broken trend line could be just another indication that dollar Chinese yuan is headed much lower. So
personally, I'm bearish in the long term. I'm bearish dollar against everything, so wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, and Chinese yuan is definitely doing very well in this, probably the best.
Yeah,
all currencies. Now, if we take a look on cable to have some back plan, if something dramatically changes here in the markets, then I still think that cable could be very interesting. I mean, looking at the daily chart here, we are running into very strong FIPS here. We have a divergence on the RSI. Potentially.
Yeah, I know. I've been monitoring this channel and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for it to roll over. Yeah, that channel, exactly. That one you just drew.
Yeah,
yes.
I mean, it's just game of patience. It's just good to have an eye on it. I mean, I will definitely know what to look for if dollar suddenly see a very sharp recovery, unexpected. Then we would probably see an impulse to the downside here on cable, and I would know where my bias will be at the time. I would probably focus on this maybe for potential shorts if I would see a very sharp drop.
Yeah, I also focus on it quite a lot because, I mean, so far the move higher is definitely not impulsive. So, I've been waiting for, weeks, perhaps months for it to at some point like roll over. And I think it will eventually do, but probably when people lose their patience completely, you know what I mean?
Yeah, when they will be not prepared. So it's good to have me here to be prepared.
True.
If this ending diagonal really shows up, but of course it's not easy to put a trade on here. Definitely not at these levels because cable, it's a unique story. I mean, especially pound in particular. What I have here. Let's take a look on dollar Swiss. I mean, very similar structures, of course. Even here, we made a nice bounce. I firstly thought that I was
inverted head and shoulders formation that once again proved to not be an inverted head and shoulders formation. A lot of people, a lot of times people fall for the trap, because a console. Yeah.
But still, I mean, it was a nice move. If you were,
it was, but it didn't complete its target.
Yeah, I know. It was a little bit higher. It was around here.
Yeah, exactly.
So it was still a free wave movement. Now we felt here at the previous lows, and 0.9 very strong psychological level as well. Now we are trying to break this trend line. I think that more weakness is coming. I mean, very sharp drop here on the hourly. So I'm looking just for more weakness. Any bounce will be temporary.
Yeah, very likely.
Yeah. Let's take a look on DAX. Here's 4 hour. Okay. So DAX, I think, has a room for more upside.
You think ending diagonal here, do I see right?
Yeah. And I'm looking, but still I'm looking bullish. I'm bullish for 14,500. Keep in mind that even if that's an ending diagonal, we should see 3 wave structure here within this 5th wave. And what I see right now is this is wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves up for a wave A. Okay. So if I zoom this in, and also what I like here is that recently we reversed lower here with a nice 3 subwaves. Let me label this with a nice, very good looking 3 subwaves. So I think that was a wave 4. And also we found a support here at the previous trend line that was broken last week. So I think that there is room for more upside, but as I said, wave 5 of A, then another pullback and more upside. But generally speaking, just trying to go with the market step by step. And even if that's an ending diagonal, very strong reversal pattern, I mean, it's just good to realize that despite this very bearish pattern, I'm looking bullish structures on a smaller time frame, and that's where I should be more focused on trades, looking for opportunities in uptrend, not seeking a top.
What about there are a few markets we can talk about. Definitely the metals. Also, last time you were here, we were talking about the USD Yen. It did produce a nice bounce. It seems to be pulling back now. So, do you think something has changed in the market?
Yeah, I mean, I'm now more on the sideline. I mean, here it was a very clear picture back here at the start of January, because we have seen a very sharp reversal from the lower side of the wedge. And that time I knew that even if that will be only a temporary pullback, temporary rise here, it should be
had more
3 waves.
Yeah,
so,
it had more to run.
Yes, and that retracement was then a very nice, beautiful setup on the long side, either for a wave C or wave 3. It didn't matter back then. But now, since we are reversing from this 105.70 resistance and also channel, this parallel channel up there, it's definitely for me to be a little bit more careful here. So I will not say that we are bullish or bearish here, but if we see a break below this trend line, then I know that this market will either stay sideways or move much, much lower. So I'm just observing it. I know that if dollar index will continue to weaken, that dollar yen could easily follow. But because of Japanese yen, as you know, and if stocks are higher during the same time, it can be a real battle between dollar and yen. So I think that in such case, it's much better to look at some other trades against the US dollar, such as on commodity currencies, for example.
Speaking of which, all the commodity currency crosses, they also look like they just had a corrective consolidation, like, you know, Euro Aussie, Euro Kiwi, blah, 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 you know, they...
Yes, looking at the Euro Aussie here, I'm looking for a drop towards 1.53 level, because recently we have seen a very nice pullback here, and I believe that could be maybe even with 1, 2, 3, 4, and now you're in wave 5. Let me just add this. And now you can be in a higher degree. So this trend clearly remains bearish.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, if we take a look also on Pound Aussie here, maybe Pound Aussie here is consolidating. Here for a wave 4, it can be a very big triangle here, but even this one suggests more weakness. That was your wave 1, 2, extended wave 3. You're now going sideways, expecting more weakness here. Just may take time maybe for this market really to unfold, because pound, as you know yourself, is much stronger than the euro. So
yeah.
You also asked for gold.
Yeah, precious metals, gold, silver.
Here I think we have a deal with ongoing consolidations away from August highs. I'm not sure if this is going to be a triangle like represented here on the left chart, and we are now headed on the upper side away from this low.
Or might be a channel. We'll find out.
Yeah, or maybe this will be an ABCX ABC correction, meaning that there will be a retest
double zigzag
1760, potentially 1700, and then we see a bounce. But the key is that I cannot count this impulsively from the highs. I cannot see 5 waves down So in my opinion, they just
corrective
correction on the way up. It just need more time for us to spot the right correction. If this is maybe a triangle,
agreed.
We just need more time. That's it. But on the intraday chart, there is a very nice bounce. So my primary count is actually a triangle here, because because we have seen here on the 4-hour very nice reversal. This is a broken trend line. So I think that this could be a leg that belongs to a free wave rise. And looking at the hourly chart here, you can see that there we have waves 1, 2, extended wave 3, and now you are maybe in a corrective wave 4, like a triangle.
Or before another leg higher.
Or maybe wave 5 already finished here. But the idea is that this is 5-wave movement, so I'm expecting more upside. So that would perfectly fit into a triangle.
As a D, and then a smaller pullback as an E, and then kiss it goodbye, and who knows where it's going.
Yes, and also I'm looking for this triangle as a primary idea because of dollar. Because if dollar index resume the downtrend, then I think that gold could be interesting for more upside.
Steve, guys, sorry to interrupt.
Yes,
we have Trufa in 8 minutes starting, so let's give Greg 1 or 2 more minutes, and then we.
You're right. Sorry, thank you for reminding me. Yes.
Yeah.
What else?
Silver.
Hey, Grega, it's Blake. Yeah. Hey, man.
What's
Dogecoin, Litecoin. Can you anything other coins you get? I'm joking.
Yeah, I can look. I can type just in Dutch and we are done.
No, I mean, hey, we were having a discussion earlier that a lot of these cryptocurrencies have just really taken out of the volatility out of the markets here, but we're actually seeing a little bit of selling in equities coming in. We're at the lows of the session, and VIX is starting to percolate right now, and that might. Do you have a read on the VIX really quick before we let you go, or do you follow it?
Yeah, just a second.
Okay.
Here's VIX.
So building a nice base, isn't it?
Yeah, it could be here when looking especially back towards this. You are expecting that volatility will actually come back?
Well, the thing is, Greg, and this is the point I want to make, and then we probably got to get going here, is that since COVID, we have not been back below 20 on a sustained basis. And, remember, we had our previous base at like 10, 12, around there. We have not broken lower despite the rally in equities. And I think that's a very big risk to volatility. There's been a lot of people shorting volatility, buying puts on volatility, selling calls on volatility, and they're likely to get squeezed here. So especially if we see any tick up in risk aversion. So anyway, that's just my thought.
From a time perspective here, always when we have seen some shock here, as you can see on the chart, there was a period of consolidation of very slow price action. And always after this shock, we have seen, since 2008, we have seen a 4-point structure for this market then to bottom later. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4 swing, and then we have bottom. Again here, shock, reversal, 1, 2, 3, 4 swing and bottom. And now again, it was a shock, reversal, 1, 2, 3, 4. You are maybe approaching this another period of potential bounces.
Or if it just holds that support, maybe your 4 is complete here.
Yeah, possible. Maybe, but I mean, we are potentially moving into very late stages of this cycle. So
rally, rally in equities. I mean, not in the VIX.
Here, if you just compare here the periods, you can see that they are all very similar.
Got it. All right. Well, hey, Grega, we have to wrap things up because Leandro is going to do his Spanish webinar, but you're always welcome here. We love listening. We're, obviously everybody here is a Grega Horvat fan, so we love getting your views. So thanks for joining us today.
Sure.
Thank you, mate.
Thank you.
Bye-bye,
right.
everyone.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
everybody have a great one. See you, Stelio. See you, Steve. See you, everyone. We'll catch you tomorrow, or I'll catch you in the daily roundup actually in a few hours.
Bye-bye.